What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more content for you guys today. And what we're going to be looking at today is the suspensions mounting up on the squad at the moment. We already know Yves Bissouma and Destiny Udogie are definitely suspended for the next game. Bissouma has got a much longer suspension, and we're most likely, well, not most likely, we're definitely not going to be seeing him again till after he returns from the AFCON. So we know that when the yellow cards mount up, 5 yellow cards equals suspension, obviously, but they all get, start again at the end of the year. So at the final whistle of the Brighton game, that is when it all kind of reverses back to 0. And we're going to look at the players now that we need to avoid getting yellow cards from now until that moment in time. So it's looking a bit hairy for us at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, considering the injuries that we have and the players already suspended. So we've got 2 big games coming up, 2 difficult games, Everton and Brighton, and we need these players to avoid suspensions if we're just going into the new year. We can't afford to have any more players out than we already do at the moment. So it's imperative, looking at the list, these players really try their hardest to not get bookings in these games, because we just can't afford any more players out than we already have.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in the centre-back positions. As we all know, Christian Romero loves getting a booking. Pape Matar Sarr is also just 1 booking away from a suspension. So we need them to avoid a booking in the next 2 games. I think it might be a bit harder for Romero than it will be for Pape Sarr. But you do imagine with the other players on the list, Højbjerg, Kulusevski and Porro, if they can avoid a booking in the Everton game, then they should be clear.
Yeah, you would think so. Kulusevski isn't a player that you'd think gets too many bookings. Porro and Højbjerg, though, are definitely 2 players who like to put a challenge in, always involved in defensive situations. That's always more primed to get booked. I think Kulusevski, when he plays central as well, gets a lot more involved in those challenges and those duels. So obviously, if they don't get booked against Everton, they should be okay, unless they get 2 bookings in the same game. But even if that happens, only counts as 1 anyway. So I guess they'll be, if they don't get booked against Everton, they'll be fine.
You'd be surprised actually with Decky, because he's such a physical player. Even when he's on the right hand side, pressing from the front, he actually gives away like a fair amount of fouls in each game. So he is a risk. But when you're looking at, it's just 2 games left, right? So if they avoid it in the next game, it's only a sending off that's going to lead them to a suspension.
Yeah, apart from Sarr and Romero. But for Kulu, Højbjerg and Porro, that's right. So it's just a situation which needs to be avoided, because we're just so short on numbers at the moment. It's pretty crazy. And if Romero gets booked, who's that coming in? Emerson Royale, probably. Back in a centre-back. Maybe even Eric Dyer, who was in the squad last game.
Dorrington.
Yeah, we already have to play Emerson because Udogie's out, but obviously that's only for 1 game. That's out for the Everton game. So if Sarr gets injured, with no Bissouma, if Sarr gets a booking, who are we going to play in midfield against Brighton? Because Gio might be out as well.
Yeah, we're saying Gio's probably out for the next game. Hopefully he'll be back for the game after, but you never know with Giovanni, to be honest. So let's say, for argument's sake, Here's out and Pape Matar Sarr's out. You're probably looking at a midfield of Højbjerg, Skip and Kulu, I guess.
And Decky with Johnson coming in on the right. Yeah, I guess not that bad for 1 game.
But you have to bring in Brian Hill on the left then.
Brian Hill. Son's going to play against Brighton, isn't he?
Son's going to play against Brighton, yeah.
Son will play. So why do you have to bring in Brian Hill?
We've got Richard. I keep forgetting about Richarlison.
Can't forget about Richard. So yeah, I think when it comes to these bookings, it's not a great situation, but I think in terms of the players who are really at risk, Romero and Sarr, those are probably the 2 players that we want out, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. But when Sarr, I mean, he's only got a couple of games left before he goes to the AFCON. That's going to be a massive loss for us. But in terms of the next game, I mean, how do you navigate the next game with Udogie and Bissouma being out? Who would you like to see in the back 4?
It's difficult. I'm obviously Emerson has to come in. It's the only question mark is, do you put Emerson left back?
I don't put Emerson in
at all.
No.
Who'd you put in?
I really don't. I would put Porro right back, Romero right centre back, Dyer left centre back, and Davis left back.
You'd rather put Dyer there?
Yeah, I would, because we've seen Emerson, what he brings to us, especially in that Wolves game when we had to play him at left back. He just slows down the play, breaks up the play
had good games at
way
left back
too
as well.
much. Has he though?
He has. There was one game, I can't remember what game it was, he came in at left back and actually played quite well.
What, under Ange?
Yeah, what game was it?
Wasn't that under Conte or Stellini?
No, it was under Ange. It was this season.
I'm just not confident. I'd rather just keep Emerson away from that team. The only way I want to see Emerson play is if Porro is injured. I would rather see Dyer, and I think I would have liked to have seen an Alfie Dorrington. But
no, Palace away, that was it. I think he came on in the second half in that game and played quite well. I remember.
But it's the kettle of fish starting the game and asking him to play the majority of the game, then coming in and maybe filling in.
He played 45 minutes.
Fair enough, but I just wouldn't want to play in there just on that evidence of that Wolves game alone. Like, it was terrible, and it basically single-handedly ruined our whole possession game based in the midfield.
I think that's harsh. I mean, he was bad. I wouldn't say it's single-handedly.
It was
the difference.
It was every time he had the ball, he lost it. Every single time.
Everyone was terrible that game.
If Udogie would have played that game instead of Emerson, you would have seen a much better brand of football. Much better.
I don't think you can just put it solely down to Emerson, that one game.
Emerson is just nowhere near suited to what we want to do with Ange. Nowhere near.
And Dyer is?
Dyer's not, but I think he can combat more the physicality as well. And we're not asking Dyer to play left back. We're asking Dyer to play centre back. And I think he can combat the physicality that maybe Everton can bring. This is just a one-off game. I don't ever want to see Dyer probably play again. But in this one-off game, with the suspensions that we do have, I would bring Dyer back in. I really would.
I'm not sure what I would do. I would bring Emerson back in, but I don't know whether I would play him left centre-back or left-back. That's the one I'm not sure about. I think I'm probably going to be tempted just to play him at left back because I think Davis has struck up such a good partnership with Romero last few games. I wouldn't want to switch that up. So I want to have at least disruption as possible. And the only way to do that is to put him at left back. If Ange decides, look, I don't want to disrupt that back to, I need Davis and Romero together, who do you put at left back?
It has to be Emerson. There's no other option.
Has to be Emerson.
There's literally no other option. But I think the best course of action is to put Davis at left back. We know he's competent on the ball. He's good at progressing the ball and good at keeping the ball. I think he's the best option to put there at left back. And you've got to pick one of Emerson, Dyer, or Dorrington at left centre back.
I think it's too much disruption. I wouldn't want to. That means you're changing two positions all of a sudden from the back four, which is playing quite well recently. So I wouldn't want to. I just personally wouldn't want to.
I mean, he is a natural left back.
I know, but I still wouldn't want to do it. I think that we've finally got something clicking with the back four. I know Udogie's out, but I want as least minimal disruption as possible. So that's why I would I would put Emerson at left back. That's what I would do, and try and just see if we can see out the game somehow.
I think that at Wolves, obviously, he did that. Emerson at left back, Ben Davis at left centre back, and he would have seen that it just wasn't good enough to do what he wants to do. And I think he will be looking at that game in terms of this game and saying, "Look, this really didn't work in that game, so let's try something different." And I think and every time something doesn't work, he does try something different. So I think he's going to look at that and change it up a bit.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
But then obviously the number 6, you're looking at Højbjerg is going to play probably with hopefully Lo Celso and Kulu. Lo Celso's probably out. So if Lo Celso is out, is it going to be Skip?
Probably Skip. Well, if Sar's out, you mean?
No, I'm talking about for the next game. Because Bissouma's out.
So Sar will play.
Oh, Sar, Kulu,
and Højbjerg.
Yes, Højbjerg in the 6. Yeah, no, I like that midfield.
Not terrible.
Albeit Højbjerg has not been great in recent weeks, but I still back him.
He had a good game against Fulham in the 6.
Yeah. I'll play Højbjerg there, no questions asked. It's just the left back and the left centre back that bothers me. And having Emerson there just really frightens the life out of me, to be honest.
Someone sent an email to us, not an email, a comment saying, what about for one game, Kulusevski at left back?
Nah. Why?
Just because he's left-footed, you can put someone else in midfield. I don't know. I mean, I was quite shocked when I saw it. I wasn't like in agreement, but that was I can't remember who it was. Someone left a comment saying, "Why not try Kulusevski at left back for a game?"
Why not try Emerson right back and Porro left back then? Like, I think that's better than putting Kulusevski at left back, because if you put Kulusevski at left back, that just takes out his whole good thing that he's got going on at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't want him seeing there. But then again, he plays that inverted role. He'll probably have a chance to go forward. You saw that, that freeze frame where it was like Son and the two fullbacks. You just put Decky there. Could it work?
I mean, look, there's a case for it, but if we're gonna, I just want to see him where he is at the moment because he's playing the football of his life, and he's our standout performer in the last 3 or 4 games. You have to keep him in that position, in my opinion. So you're talking about not moving around things too much, then you got to keep Decky in that position, and you got to decide out of those players who you want left back, left centre back. There is a case for Dorrington, but I really wouldn't want to throw Dorrington in the deep end against Everton, like the most physical side in the league.
I just think he's going to want to keep that partnership together. I don't think he's going to want to, because we've chopped and changed so much, right, since Van der Ven's been injured in the centre-back area. We've finally got something settled. I don't think he's going to want to change it.
I would change it, though, just for this one game, because I think, like, an Eric Dyer, you're looking at the front line of Everton. Yeah, fine. Eric Dyer's not the greatest, not a good defender, and we want him gone and everything like that. But for one-off game against Everton, I think he should be okay. I really do. So that's what I would do. Sim would leave Emerson at left back. I just don't want to see that because I just think he's the only way I want to see Emerson in the team is if Porro is injured at right back, backup right back. That's the only way I want to see him play. I think he hinders us too much.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
But look, that's the situation. It is very precarious at the moment. We just need to avoid. I think it's just the simple case of avoiding Romero and Sarr in the next game in a very physical battle against Everton.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we'll have a clean slate come the next 2 games. So hopefully it's not a situation that'll hurt us too much. But knowing Spurs, literally the whole season, whenever we talk about he has to avoid a 5th yellow, he has to avoid this, you always get it every single time. Every
stupid
player,
ones as well. So stupid.
Every player we've been talking about this season, they always get that 5th yellow or whatever. So
Doki didn't even deserve it as well. Just a shoulder to shoulder. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Agreed.
Like they should introduce rescinding yellow cards because that would have been rescinded
completely. It wasn't even a foul. It was ridiculous.
But do you think, because there's a narrative around Spurs, obviously with all the suspensions and everything, do you think that we have a discipline problem?
I wouldn't say discipline, but I would say there's maybe a bit of a rash. I guess I guess how you define discipline, but I think we can be a bit rash. We get too ahead of ourselves. We're very physical. We're playing in a very different way to how we wanted to play last season. With very high press, full throttle, very much getting into the opposition's faces. And I think maybe on a few occasions we've gone over the line and overzealous in our challenges. But I think lack of discipline implies like you lose control in an aggressive way, like I don't know, you're punching a player or something like that. You get into a fight, you get into a scrap. We're not doing that. We're putting in poor challenges, which is getting us in trouble. I don't know if it's
That's also discipline, though.
I get if you define discipline like he should be more measured. So if he lacks discipline, if he's not sticking to his role, kind of thing. There's that kind of discipline, I guess. But I don't think it's like the players getting hot-headed or anything like that. I don't see players like losing their heads, apart from maybe Romero against Chelsea. I don't see many players losing their heads. They're just maybe going over the line a bit in some of their challenges.
It's a bit similar to maybe Arsenal from a couple of years back before.
Xhaka was punching players. He got sent off for that. Like they got sent off for
those are few and far between though. But they were getting consistent red cards, a lot of yellow cards week in, week out.
Yeah.
Gabriel was getting sent off as well for similar things that maybe Romero kind of does. It is a bit similar. I mean, maybe it's just a case of because you've got a young and exuberant squad and the football that we kind of play is very aggressive football. Maybe it's just a circumstance of that and they just need to learn and grow.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a learning curve. That's all it is. I think it's just teething problems with the way we're playing. And I think people are going over the line sometimes. They need to learn where the line is and when... need to learn from these challenges they're making. That Basuma challenge against Forest was completely unnecessary and inexcusable. There was nothing no instruction that anyone could give him to not make that challenge. It was just a stupid challenge.
And the first one he got, getting sent off for diving. How stupid can you be?
Yeah, completely. So definitely we have a tendency as well to do these challenges when we're on top and in control of games. And that's very, very frustrating. But it's not like when I think in my head of like ill discipline, I think of like Battle of the Bridge, you know, just kicking recklessly, doing. Well, I don't see us doing that. That's not. I don't associate our fouls at the moment like those kind of fouls like in that game, like that. The same. They're not in the same category in my opinion. It's not like that. But there's definitely.
You're saying it's more stupidity.
It's just over exuberance, probably. Like that Battle of the Bridge, I was players losing their heads, completely just looking to kick people off the pitch. I don't see Tottenham doing that. When
Romero.
Romero. I don't see a lot of Tottenham going to try and harm people. That would be, in my opinion, ill discipline.
Apart from when we go to Villa Park.
A bit of recklessness, maybe. Apart from, well, we'll see. We'll see.
But look, it's a dodgy situation we're in. I think if we can get past this Everton game without the 1-on-2 bookings, I think we'll be clear of those. But Romero and Sarr got to really walk the tight line for the next 2 games. Albeit, I mean, with Sarr, does it really matter if he just misses 1 game? Because he goes to the AFCON anyway.
That's why it matters.
Yeah. So, but I don't understand. Like, some people are saying Bissouma's 3 games, some are 4 games, but I guess it doesn't really matter anyway because he's going to the AFCON.
Are some people saying it is 3 now?
Some people are saying 3, some people are saying 4. I don't know who's right, but I guess it doesn't matter anyway. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? Do you think Spurs have a discipline problem? Are you worried over these next couple of games about getting even more suspensions that we have to deal with? I mean, Bissouma's already had 3 suspensions this season. Romero's had a suspension. We've had 4 red cards already this season, countless amounts of yellow cards. So let me know in the comment section below, do you think Spurs have a discipline problem? And those are the players that are walking the tightrope at the moment. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.